At the camera, too.
Welcome to the Community Workbench podcast for a special Friday the 13th episode. This week we have the Brown brothers, Ryan and Tyler. They also do a podcast, a local podcast, the Haunting Hour podcast. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you?
We're doing excellent. Thank you guys so much for having us on.
We are very excited to be here tonight, guys. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
And I love how you've inspired us to change our lighting and our set.
This is great. The mood that you guys have set up, just with the string lighting, the candle, the skull, it's perfect.
I've had dates like it.
Did your date survive?
Yeah, who set
I
everything
don't
up?
kiss and tell. I don't kiss and tell.
She was 100% a goblin chick, for sure. For sure.
If she wasn't, she was after that.
Yeah.
Truth be told, I haven't dated anyone but my wife in 22 years.
Wow, I will take a drink to that. That's awesome, dude.
Thank you.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
So, Ryan, Tyler, tell us, who wants to give us a little origin story about the Haunting Hour podcast?
Ty, you want to take this one? I know you did it last week, but go ahead for me.
I can take it. Actually, as Ryan likes to say, this was a product of COVID, honestly. We had this idea of a horror podcast in 2019, I want to say. We lived in different states at the time.
Wow.
So in 2019, although we had the idea to get into the podcast realm, we just didn't have the logistics behind it. 2020 early on rolls around, COVID hits, and we both found ourselves in Connecticut in the same area. So we said, hey, let's make a run at, trying this horror podcast. Podcasts in general, they were pretty new still in 2020. Yeah. I think, Joe Rogan was relatively recent. Laura was recent. And we gave it a shot in, I want to say, February 2020. And we're here now. We're a semi-successful horror podcast. We're very proud of it. Yeah.
Yep.
I still remember sending you the text, dude. When I sent you the text and I was like, how do you feel about starting a horror podcast? You text me back almost immediately. And you're like, absolutely, let's do this thing.
Yeah. It was something that it was really tough early on. I mean, the first 3 or 4 months when we had, your not so quality microphones, we didn't have the best controlled environment when we were starting up.
We know all about that.
Yeah,
Like you're telling our story. Only instead of 2 or 3 months, it was 2 years.
Yeah, but the setup you guys got now, I mean, that makes it worth it.
Yeah.
But we had some great ideas for the podcast itself. We heard, true crime podcasts, they got beat to death early on in the podcast realm, and we didn't really want to go that route. We think true crime is very interesting. However, we think there are more interesting things in the horror genre than simply a serial killer or a murderer. So we kind of did the urban legend realm, the cryptid realm. We dived into true crime for a couple episodes. We had this little brainchild that we call the Haunting Hour After Hours, which is like an unedited podcast that we do every, what would you say, Ryan? Every 8 episodes, 9?
Yeah, probably once every 3 months or so.
Yeah, so we drop an episode where we the prerequisite is we have to be hammered. So we get together for an hour or two and we just we drink. We're big bourbon guys like you two.
Yeah.
We're big Scotch guys, so we have some bourbon, some Scotch, some Narragansetts, and then after we feel like we're ready to podcast, we get into the studio and the banter we get just being a little inebriated, man, it is awesome.
It's top notch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm shocked it hasn't ended in a fist fight yet.
It was close with the Haunting Hour horror hot takes that we did. That one was close. Yeah, we didn't talk for a couple days after that one.
Wow. I'm going to have to...
I'm still upset about it, man. Still upset.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to those.
Now, do you guys post those?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
on
yeah.
there.
They
They're on
said
there.
they drop it. They have the podcast lingo and everything.
Yeah,
Not
we
like-
drop it.
Not like us couple of...
They have 10 years on us.
It's like I'm looking in a mirror right now. Right? It's funny, though. You guys have forward-facing hats and a little gray in your beard. We have backwards black hats.
I knew I should have gone backwards.
I will say though, guys, me personally, I've listened to your podcast a lot. I listen to it at work.
Nice.
Huge fan.
Thank
And
you.
I'm
thanks,
not
man.
just saying that because you guys are local podcasters. I'm a big fan of keeping tabs on what happens in northeastern Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grew up here. I went to Woodstock Academy, so near and dear to my heart. So what you guys are doing, 2 thumbs way up. I really do enjoy when you guys drop a new episode and I get to listen to it.
Great, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. On that note, I've been a little lackadaisical, I guess is a good word.
I'm not
That,
surprised.
I haven't put them on Spotify or YouTube as quickly as I usually do, so that's going to be a flood when it comes. When I get some time.
Doesn't everybody like binge watching though, or binge
Yeah,
listening,
so,
right?
I'll
Once
do
you
what I
hit,
can.
once you hit the point where you're like caught up, you're like, you gotta wait a week, and you're like,
Exactly.
okay, and then you're searching endlessly for another one that you haven't listened to, right? That you can binge watch
Absolutely.
or listen to.
Yep.
And now I love the semi-successful little plug you gave yourself, and I believe that's true. I've listened to a few episodes, and you guys are definitely, I would say, even more professional than us. You do a lot more research for your subject matter, and that's really cool. Success to me for this podcast was when we actually got people more work, or a charity more donations, that type of stuff. When you hear those stories, that to me was like, dude, it's working, and then, the second level was probably when people start calling us to be on the podcast. That's just, huge gratitude to our fans, our viewers, everybody. What is that success to you guys?
Honestly, I think that success for us, when we first started this show out, we always said we were never going to do it for money, for promotion, for any type of sponsorship. This is all about me and Tyler getting into the studio and talking about something that we love.
Nice.
And I think we said from day one, if we have 1 listener or 100,000 listeners per episode, we don't care because we're doing this for us.
Yeah.
If somebody enjoys what we're talking about, that's great. That will make our lives better because we can like connect with them on that. But me and Tyler love the horror genre. We love paranormal stuff. So at the end of the day, just us talking about it, that's a win in my book.
Yeah. So it's the pure art form for you guys. That's awesome.
We've done a couple conventions and flea markets and little marketing outreach things. And when someone comes up and you assume they're just coming to get information from you, and they say like, "Oh my God, you're the Brown Brothers. I listen to you on Spotify."
Nice.
Like that hit me really hard early on when that happened. It was down at the Pop Punk Flea Market in Bethlehem, Connecticut.
Wow.
And yes, two people came up, and
The craziest thing that ever happened to us, some girl like ran up to us. She was like, "I have to take a picture with you guys."
Wow.
And I was like,
Cool.
"What?"
do you know who we are?
True celebrities.
No,
Nice.
it was not even the fact that we're not celebrities, but it's more like we're actually getting outreach. People are listening. People
Yeah.
are continually listening. They're not just listening to one episode and saying it's interesting, but it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
We're kind of like you guys, where we really do, when we do our podcast, we want it to be as professional as possible. Even though we do joke around, we swear in ours. Like I said early on, we do the after hours, but we try to make the information that we give as informative and correct as we can, just because we think the horror genre, it's really, especially in Hollywood, looked down upon.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's really, when you look, or ironically, I think the Emmys is this weekend.
Yeah.
And for Emmys and Oscars, when there's a horror movie or horror director and they get an actual nomination, that makes headlines because it never happens.
Nope.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, almost anybody will can look at some of the older horror movies and know that they were really underfunded. It's a tough genre, I think, for the
Yeah,
movies to break into and stuff. And when they have that shoestring budget and still make it, Emmy Award winning or whatever, or just get that cult following, even, it's huge, to do that. And that's pretty cool that you guys shine light on that.
John Carpenter, he directed Halloween, the 1970,
1978.
1978. Thank you, 1978 Halloween, and he had to dip into his own pocket to film the movie itself because he didn't get enough funding, and now that is the apex and kind of the jumping off point of all of the 80s horror, which leads into the horror today. So the fact that he had to go into his own pocket to dish out funds to actually fund that film, that speaks volumes as to how underrated the horror genre is.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't John Carpenter sit down on the piano and play the theme himself?
He did the synth. Yeah, he's the one that created.
And that's like one of the most iconic sounds in horror now.
Yeah,
it's
and
crazy.
One of his best friends played Michael Myers. He was the one that wore the mask. Yeah, so
I wonder if he copyrighted that sound.
Oh, I hope so. If he did, I know for a fact we've used that on the podcast before. So, John, do not sue us, buddy.
Yeah, I think it's like 11 seconds, 10 or 11 seconds of a song before YouTube or any of these will flag you.
I think it's 11. Yep.
Yeah. It's close.
Yep.
We haven't pushed the envelope.
Yeah, well, that's technically a song, so yeah, it can be copywritten or whatever. But fun fact, Zippo tried to patent the sound that the lid made when you open it,
Come on.
and they couldn't.
Oh my
They
god.
wouldn't let them patent the sound of the Zippo, even though they have an iconic sound to them. When
Oh,
it- when it's
absolutely.
built, right?
Maybe that's what we should use for our opening. Nobody's going to come after us.
yeah. At least then you know you're safe.
That's right. Well, my one of my cousins is an entertainment lawyer in California, so I sent him a message. It was like, "Hey, how much trouble could we get?"
Right.
We use it? And he's like, "Well, Facebook you'll probably be able to get away with. They have a lot of the songs already on there." He goes, "But YouTube's far more strict." And he's like, "You're at risk of it getting taken down." But then I said to him, "Well, if we put up 100 episodes and then the next one gets flagged, they're going to take them all down."
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not worth it.
No, absolutely not.
And speaking of fear, we still don't have an intro song
So, yeah. We have a lead, though.
because of that conversation. Yeah, we have a band that said, just give us a call. We'll go into the recording studio.
Oh, awesome.
And they were on. They were the Hopeville Garage.
Yeah.
The Hopeville General Store Garage Band. So
It's good people to know.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're awesome. Ron
Need a
Lynch.
short riff. Just a short riff, and we'll be
they
good.
came on.
If it falls through, let me know because I did the intro for our show.
Oh, did you?
yeah, I did the little, I don't know, what is it, 15 seconds
Yeah, a little guitar riff
of
that you do.
acoustic guitar.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you know how to play music.
Yeah.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, early on, my parents pushed that on us, and it kind of stuck with me.
Well, look, you made a 11
it
second
worked.
guitar riff.
Yeah, yeah, and it's iconic for us now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad time.
That's funny because I've tried to do. I took a couple of YouTube to do like a riff.
yeah.
Was it single note and double note riffs and stuff like that? I was like,
Like a DJ.
this is terrible. I was like, I have.
You can't put that in
such
front of
a
your
hard
show.
time. I was like, yeah, this is not going to work. Well, and it was just me trying to learn what they already had. So not only that, I would have to come up with my own.
Yeah.
It's like this isn't happening. At least not in a Saturday afternoon. That's for sure. So yeah, I get it. Yeah, back to what success is for you guys. No matter how you started, when you find other people that really appreciate what you do, there's nothing else like it really. And then for us on the podcast, when we see that it helped, either raise awareness for whatever it was or whatever, and when people see that, we just smile.
Oh, absolutely.
You're just like ear to ear, and we love it.
Yeah, especially in this area of Connecticut, small business is huge. So you guys are a great tool for everybody to get word out about their business.
Yeah.
It's quite an asset in my opinion.
I've always wanted to be a tool.
Just ask Tyler.
Well, you succeeded.
I thought he was gonna say it first. I was like,
You can ask Tyler all about it.
Man, this is like, oh my gosh, it's like yin and yang. Me and him. It's like,
I feel like we should switch seats. It's a little too scary right now.
Can't tee me up like that, man.
Jeez. So here we go. Do you believe in ghosts?
I would argue that both of us believe in an afterlife, ghosts, spirits, whatever you want to call it, regarding that regard. The hot take that we had and have had for years is that Ryan has believed in demons. I've never believed in demons. I don't think there's anything in hell. I don't think there is a hell. I don't think there's a heaven or angels. I think there are negative spirits and entities, and they do demonic things, air quoting, demonic things, but there's no demons that can possess human beings. Ryan has, up until recently, always believed in a demon, maybe an afterlife. You can speak, obviously, better than I can to that.
Yeah, so me and Tyler were both brought up Catholic. We both went to Catholic school, so belief in God was something that I always stood by for a very, very long time. And up until recently, Tyler has changed my mind on a couple things and opened my mind to a couple of things. But regarding the afterlife, myself, I've experienced too many things in my life to think that the afterlife is not real. So I've dealt with a couple things where beyond a reasonable doubt, I know for a fact that ghosts are real. Or I do have that strong opinion that spirits, the afterlife, there is something beyond the world that we're living in right now. Regarding demons and things like that, I've also experienced something that has been truly malevolent, but nothing that made me think, oh, this is truly, air quotes, demonic. But yeah, Tyler, I feel like Tyler's a little more rash and a little more, I don't know, he's got strong opinions and what he believes, but at the end of the day, we both do truly believe in the afterlife, spirits, ghosts, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I will say, I've met two of the handful of people that were in a building on Main Street in Danielson at different times in my life, like years apart, that both talked about the same experience at one of the buildings and it's different businesses now there, and I won't mention which building it is, but they were basically sitting all having a drink, and in the next room over, they heard a bunch of yelling, and tables being flipped over and stuff. If I'm remembering the story correctly from both, but I remember the biggest thing was that both people very this actually happened, and so the bartender called the police. Police came, they sent the dog in. Dog went in, defecated uncontrollably, and just came out whimpering, scared. And he was like, my dog never does that inside and stuff like that. And then they went in, and it was like it had left, whatever it was. And it was a weird thing. And I got that story from two of there was 5 or 6 people there, some at the bar and then the bartender and stuff like that. And and I was just like, wow. So, and to me, I thought that was pretty wild just to see very tangible. They're both trade workers. I was in the trades, and it was just we have us trade workers have a certain, I don't know, it has to be tangible. You know what I mean? We're just very mechanical, minded, that kind of thing. And it was interesting to see them both have the same story and years apart from it.
No, absolutely. Also, Danielson, old Main Street, very old.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it would be very, very interesting and eye-opening to see what that building was before it was a bar, or whatever it was, or what type of traumatic deaths might have happened in that location.
Right.
Then you can start getting a little bit of answers on if that place is actually haunted by a ghost.
Yeah. Another story was my grandfather said he got his 60 acres in Plainfield and his almost 400-year-old house in the 65, I think, somewhere around there. He bought it for $13,000, and he said because it was haunted.
Wow.
And he said he would come home at 2 a.m. So my dad, it was my dad's stepdad, which is grandfather to me. And his mom didn't live there yet, and he would come home from EB at 2 a.m. and the rocking chair would still be rocking as he walked in the door.
Nope, don't like that. Do not like that at
That
all.
was in Plainfield?
That was in Plainfield.
Yeah, have you guys heard of the New England vampire panic?
No.
So there was, the dates, it's going to be wrong, but early 1800s, I believe, Jewett City, Griswold, which is right next door to Plainfield.
Right. Yep.
Also old.
Also very old. Yeah, there was a rash of tuberculosis in that area, and the people who survived, the people who died, they believed that tuberculosis was caused from the dead coming back and drinking the blood and infecting those who were living, and it happened in that same area.
Well,
Wow.
So they would burn bodies at the stake. They would decapitate them. They would turn them in their graves just so that the spirits wouldn't come back. But we did an episode on that, and there were some compelling stories in that same area.
The horrors that people experienced because of the horrors that were being experienced by the living.
We said the same thing. We were
Oh,
laughing
torture.
so hard at
It's terrible.
just how I don't want to say dumb, but just how ill-informed people were
Yeah.
back then to think
Yeah.
that a body would come up through the soil and infect someone.
but they had no barometer.
Oh, no.
Right?
Right.
Yeah,
So
they had nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah. So I can't even say dumb.
Also, in their defense, they had so a wake was originally they put the body on a table and have all their friends and family come around, and it was literally to try and wake the body, see if they were dead. Then they would put them in the ground, and someone would work the midnight shift, and they would sit up and they would tie everybody's finger to a bell that was up on
Yeah.
top, and that's where Saved by the Bell came, because if you twitched and rang the bell, graveyard shift
You wouldn't
guy
be buried alive.
would dig you up and try to get you out if you were buried alive. So
Horrifying.
people coming out of the grave, because they, the medical world wasn't that far advanced, and there's comas, there's low breathing, there's all kinds of stuff where you're not dead yet, and we can see that easily now with technology, but that wasn't that easy back then. So
Yeah, there was a horrifying case. I think it was early 1800s, but it was in New Haven, Connecticut. Her grave's still around. Her name is slipping me, but she was buried alive. Then it was maybe a week later, her aunt had a dream that this woman was buried alive. So she told the authorities, she told the family. They went, exhumed the body, and the casket had claw marks all on the inside of it. And her name is slipping me, but it was in our, I believe it was in
Is
our
it
haunted-
Mary?
Yeah, maybe it is Mary.
And she's like the the bride in white.
Could have been wide.
There's a joke in
Not
this.
usually.
The wide bride in white.
not usually back then,
Also true.
unless they were wealthy.
But yes, I believe like the legend is Moonlight Mary. That's the name of the legend. But this really happened, and it was in the great state of Connecticut. So
That's
tho-
wild.
Those
though,
things
that
happen.
They even believed her to
Right.
go and dig it up. Right.
Yeah.
Like if you did that today,
Oh, there's no
not
way.
a chance.
Nope.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't take her and burn her, because that's like a clairvoyant slash witch kind of action to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's lucky she was not in Salem.
But it was the late 1800s, right? There was a little bit more,
Probably a little bit more.
a little bit less witchcraft, a little
Yes.
bit more.
Yeah, Salem already happened. They knew what they did. Yeah, they learned from that real quick.
That's wild. So you guys have been trucking along since 2019. Kudos to you guys, right? I got that right?
Yeah, 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 4 years right now.
And
Nice.
is there future? Is there things you want to improve upon? Is there places you want to go for your podcast?
I will touch upon this, Tyler, because I don't think I've told you about this yet. But I would love for the show to grow to a point where me and Tyler can take this to different haunted locations. So it's been a big dream of mine to visit the Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
One of the most haunted places, allegedly, in the U.S. I've been dying to go there. The history behind the place is absolutely incredible. But I think it would be very cool for us to take our show kind of on the road, but then actually record in a haunted location and talk about that location.
Now is that accessible? It's a public place you can get into, or
Yep, you can rent it for tours. They do
Oh, wow.
ghost tours and things like that. But I think that would be very, very cool for us to do.
On location. Yeah, I mean, New England's very old, as
Yep.
we've stated. There's probably quite a few places you can go low, but mobility is that's awesome. Yeah.
There's the Conjuring House. So
Yeah.
if you're listening,
Barvo.
I'm sure exactly. I'm
Yeah.
sure you know what it is. If not from the 2014 Conjuring movie from James Wan.
Yeah.
But that is from Ryan and myself. That's about 25 minutes. So it's not far at all. However, it is very expensive per night. We've looked into just kind of renting it out for a night. I believe it's like an Airbnb thing, but it's like $400 for one night, and it's supervised. Is it higher?
I
than
thought
that?
it was like a grand.
Yeah, it's about
$1,000.
I think it's $1,100.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay. I guess that's another reason why we didn't do it.
That makes me think that place is not actually haunted. That is just a straight money grab, dude.
Yeah, but I mean, the marketing right there. If you go to the Conjuring House in Harrisville or Burrillville,
Yep.
yeah,
I mean,
that
that's why
is-
he bought it.
Yo, absolutely.
Like,
Yeah, that guy's a genius.
yeah.
Yeah, he's already paid everything. He's paid his property off. He's paid the house with just the fact that it's allegedly haunted. But we would have loved, or we still want to, maybe this spring go there and do a live show, even if that's kind of like a trial run before we would potentially go out to Kentucky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
No, I mean, I never seen The Conjuring, but that specific house is just referenced, or is that the house they actually see in the movie?
So in the movie, it's a different location. I think that was filmed in North Carolina.
Okay.
But the house itself, we did an episode on it. God, maybe it was like episode 11, 12. The audio quality is probably a little bit not great. So
A little dated.
yeah, a little dated.
We know that all about that.
we still do that once in a while here if we don't turn on a certain mixer or whatever. I get it.
But the history behind the place is compelling. I do think it's a little fabricated because the movie came out and people have this preconceived notion of the actual property. But at the end of the day, I do think there are spirits there, and it would be very interesting to step inside.
Yeah. So when I was talking about my grandfather's house where the rocking chair was still going, you were like, "Oh no, don't want to be there." But now you're telling me you want to go experience these things. Oh, you just don't want to live there? Is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't want to be him coming home from a long shift and seeing the rocking chair rocking and thinking, I got to deal with this now after I'm tired from like a 10-hour shift of whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, so it's definitely different living in a place, right, that's haunted compared to just visiting a place.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, if you're living in a haunted location, you probably get comfortable with it, but it's probably difficult to close your eyes at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't care. He just was like,
Went right
this
to
place
bed.
is super cheap. Went right to bed. It was,
I
he
respect
usually
that.
ate dinner like after at 2 and 3 a.m. So
Yeah, but like that generation, especially of men, were like they were tough, right?
Right,
Like they're
yeah.
not gonna show a weakness. So like
Yeah.
haunted, that doesn't exist. I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, even if the whole family says like we had the worst experience ever, the dad says, get back to bed. We're staying here. Yeah, we're still paying this house off.
I got to be up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
no, the actually from what I've heard from my dad and my grandfather was the worst experience was when Grandpa came home 2 a.m. and started frying up liver and onion. And my dad came downstairs. What the bleep are you cooking? And it was the first time my grandfather had ever heard him swear. It was hilarious.
That's scary in itself.
Yeah.
It was funny.
That'll scare off anything that's
No.
in that house.
That was kind of how it went. So that's the only real story I got. Otherwise, yeah, he believed that it was some general that was there, and then there was another story of 3 women being hung from the rafters in the upstairs. As far as what they kind of knew through rumor and whatever, that those were the stories that were kind of came through the test of time, and when I'm sure they kind of learned of it afterwards. Realtors don't usually post that stuff.
Disclose.
No, we have to disclose if there was like a homicide, stuff like that. But
Yeah. Once they get the paycheck,
Yeah,
then they
Yeah.
reach out and say, hey, by the way, this place is real haunted.
I mean, back then there were a lot less rules for
Right,
realtors.
yeah, that's right. That's right. We had Mike here. He told us in the 80s there was 3 pieces of paper to buy a house.
Crazy.
A little bit buyer beware should be kind of how it is. I don't know.
That's probably what instilled. Like
My own-
every time something happened, oh, we need another piece of paper now. Moving forward.
Right. Yeah. So, anyway, before we really crush my career, what are your day jobs?
After you, Rye.
Yeah, so my day job, I work for the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation in the Division for Water Supply and Protection. So I work at the Wachusett Reservoir.
Ah,
Oh, wow.
Yep, up in West Boylston, Clinton area. I'm a maintainer for them, so we do bunch of trail work for him, a lot of arborist work, carrying chainsaws every day.
Oh wow.
Yep. So it's
That's
a good.
cool, though.
It's a good job. And
No wonder
the-
why you're such a badass.
Well, I always say that's why his beard grows so much better than mine. He's pretty much a lumberjack.
definitely a lumberjack in a former life. But yeah, so it holds about. I think it's roughly around 35% of the water there goes directly to Boston or the
Oh, wow.
Okay.
metropolitan Boston area for the drinking water. So, end of the day, I feel like it's an important job. I went to school I have my degree in ecology and environmental sciences, so I am a man of science, although I might not sound that way. But I love everything to do with the outdoors. If we're lucky, we get to do some work with wildlife, which fuels the fire like in my heart because I love animals. Anytime I can help out stranded wildlife or something that's injured, 2 thumbs way up to that, and just really love the job, love working for the state. So it's been great so far.
That's cool. That's really cool.
You're speaking like the state's listening right now.
He
Love the
knows.
job. It's my favorite job. Please don't fire me.
Hey, great benefits. That's
Great.
all
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
a
say.
state job, man.
He knows. This will be live on the internet forever. So.
Oh, yeah.
I met a couple of wise older people that have both stated that every married couple, one should be a municipal worker of some sort, and the other can be passionate.
I believe that to my
Whatever.
And they can retire by like 58 years old. They're good.
Hey, you can go on tour with the podcast and have a pension.
We're good to go, man.
That's the dream. Except we'll be in our 50s.
Whoa. We're not there yet.
Nothing wrong with that.
Could make it scarier.
Yeah,
Be the
that's right.
old creepy guys that have seen a lot.
Oh God, they're back again. Jesus Christ.
Hope it doesn't get to that point. Yeah, and mine's a little easier than Ryan's. Well, not easier to do, but just to talk about. I am a physiotherapist, so very similar to a physical therapist. So I work out in North Smithfield, Rhode Island. I do very similar work to like a PT, where I have patients and clients, and we just kind of get them back to what they were doing pre-injury.
Oh, okay. So so what's the difference between a physical therapist?
Physical therapists have doctorate degrees. I have a master's, so I just
Oh,
didn't go for my last year. So my master's it's in kinesiology, which is what they have as a doctorate. But
That's
I
the
just
study of movement, right?
yeah, kinesiology exactly. Body kinematics, pretty much how the body moves. So very similar to a PT, but I don't make $100,000 unfortunately. But no, I love it. I'm the same as Rye. So if Work's listening, you guys are awesome. Thanks so much. Love a race, but not bad at all. And Mondays off would be great, so we could podcast in peace.
Push that 4-day work
The
week.
4-day
Push
work
that.
week's
Oh,
great. I
let's
have a
push it.
4-day work week. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
Not to rub it in, but it is.
must be nice.
Although I will say Thursdays you do a double shift pretty much.
Oh, not anymore. But
Oh,
yeah,
not anymore?
yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh,
so,
okay. Wow.
yeah, I work 4/10s. So I have Wednesdays off with my wife, so we'll go out and do stuff. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they definitely brag about that on the group chat.
Oh, I'm
Oh, we're in Putnam.
You want to meet us in
having
Putnam for a drink?
drinks.
Oh, we're working.
No, it's a Wednesday.
That's what's great about it. There's nobody
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, I have definitely had a few days off or time slots where you have nothing to do during the day, during the week, and it is nice being off when no one else is.
hitting the grocery store at like
Oh.
noon on a Tuesday. Nothing like
Go.
it.
You're in and out in 10 minutes.
Dude, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and as you get older, right? Like early on in your careers, you're like, oh, having a day off, you like go do crazy stuff. Or on a Tuesday night, you'll go get hammered, right? And now you're like, I can go to the grocery store and don't have to fight somebody for an apple.
The best.
That means Sunday's free, so we can do yard work. That's perfect.
To get old.
I will say, if any of you get a day off during the week and want to get hammered, I mean, I'll move my schedule. Pretty flexible. Or podcast and get hammered. That's fun too. So you guys do recordings on Monday? A lot of times you're in the studio?
Yep,
That's
usually
fun.
Monday nights around 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
That's typically when we have our guests on 5:30, sound check, and then 6 o'clock we go live. That's awesome.
It honestly is a great way to start the week. Gives me something to look forward to because everybody talks about Sunday scaries, but since we've been doing the podcast, I don't really get them.
You guys just lean right into the Monday scares.
Tuesdays suck.
They are rough. They are rough.
The Haunted Hour podcast.
The Haunted Hour podcast.
Now, when do you guys? So you record, but you don't go live like we do. So when do you actually normally release them?
So we release on Fridays at noon.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Okay.
So we plug them on like Mondays where we're like, oh, we're recording this on a Monday, but it is Friday, guys. How are you doing? Let's get ready for the weekend. So when they listen to it on Friday, it's kind of like a end of the week pick me up. Let's get ready for
If you're
the
banking these guys in the office, be like, have their earbuds. Oh, it's gonna drop in like 3 minutes.
We always say like the ride home from work for a lot of people on a Friday, like 4:30, 5 o'clock. They put us on, and that's what's getting them into the weekend.
Yeah.
That's why we do it on Friday.
We used to release on Mondays, but shockingly, we did not get as much traction. So
It is tough to compete with our release.
that's what I'm saying.
It's the dealing with just the psyche of people, right? Of their patterns and how to handle like, oh, okay, this is when they're normal, right? It has nothing to do even with an algorithm. It's simply just like their habitual nature.
Absolutely.
And to tap into that, it's like, okay, well, we have to figure out how we can make that better. And when do people listen to these things, right? And it's hard.
It really is. And I'm an avid podcast listener for a lot of different genres. So I think that played a big part in kind of figuring out what people want to listen to and when they want to listen to. So I look at myself, I like a state employee. I'm like, it's probably a decent part of the general public thinks the way I do when they want to listen to shows. So it's been trial and error a lot, but I've been noticing that a lot of people do enjoy listening to podcasts at work if they're working from like home, or there's also a fair amount of people, which I think we have our niche in, who listen to podcasts on Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings when they're doing things around the house.
Okay.
So I think that's more of like our reach tie for those people who.
Yeah, they put us on and then they don't really listen. We're like the background noise to them cleaning the kitchen.
Yeah, but that's
whatever
every podcast.
Yeah,
That's
you're
every,
100%.
And then
absolutely right.
you think they're not listening, and then you come back and you're like, I remember the whole thing, and this happened, and this happened. It's all subconscious.
Well, and like I've had to explain this to so many baby boomers, and I love our baby boomer viewers, but I've had quite a few, a handful of them say, well, it's not edited and it's this raw form conversation. They're just so used to mainstream media where everything's polished and edited and just like in perfect form. Where we're like, oh, I misspoke. Even how we began today, I was like, oh yeah, welcome to. Wait a minute, I can do that better. Welcome to, you know what I mean? It's just like
Mortify them.
And it's just that I feel like our culture is really yearning for that through whatever it is, reality TV or just so much fake stuff out there now. You know what I mean?
For sure. It makes it more personable to the consumer. They want to know, like, podcasters, they're real people. We're just sitting down in the studio having a good time, just chatting.
Yeah, it's like a
we
normal conversation.
I won't say F up because I know you guys told me not to swear on this and drop the F bomb, but we still mess up just like everyone else does.
Trust me. There's plenty of that out there for us.
We have quite a few. I actually will be re-inviting other guests on because of how poor either the audio or the video quality was at that time.
You learn over
because we
time, just like
screwed
you
up
guys
or
did,
whatever.
right? You're like, oh, we can do this, and then you get all this equipment, and then you're like, all right, well, we can probably do it better. And then you just slowly evolve and get better.
Yeah. Every week, every day, every week, every month, whatever. Just try and push the needle a little bit with quality and, whatever you're talking about, whatever. Or if you post more, you promote more. Like that's been one of the hardest things for me is to like be on, multiple times a week, go to Instagram, go to, Facebook and hey, Monday night at 6, get us, watch us. And we have our most viewership on Facebook. And it's
because
actually
we're old.
after the
They're not. They're not even on Facebook. They're on Instagram.
A view is a view. It doesn't matter the demographic.
Oh, we're holding on to every single one.
Yes, and we love you all. Thank you so much.
See, we can't even get into that demographic. We're not there. Like that's something that we could probably tap.
Oh, maybe, yeah, but you got to think somebody in their 60s listens to us.
Yeah, but you have to wait till you hit 40, and then you can get up.
Probably immediately shuts us off. Like, I'm not listening to this.
Well,
yeah, that's fair.
The other thing is you guys break into video because you guys are a true podcast, just audio only for
correct.
a while.
Yep.
So when you break into video, I think you'll have more platforms, that you'll do well on. So.
The reach we've gotten, so we've done some short clips just for TikTok, but the reach we've gotten from that in the past 3 weeks when we first started it, absolutely insane.
Really?
I'm like, this is an untapped market that we should have done 4 years ago, dude.
Yeah, I got to shout out my girlfriend because she told us like 2 years ago to get into the TikTok. Like the actual video of us, and I think we tried it honestly, and it was just so much. It was a lot of work just to match up the audio with
Work
the video.
for who? Work for me, Ty, not for you.
All right, cry me a river. But yeah, she said get into that, and we tried it, and then we said yeah, it's just a lot, and then. Ever since we started it a month and a half ago, like Ryan said, our numbers have been going up. Which
Well,
is
the
great.
benefit you guys have too that we don't is that you can they can listen to you anywhere, right? And it's pertinent because it's an interest to them. For us, it's like local, so it's like like somebody in California could listen to you guys and be like, oh, that's cool. There's this haunted place down in Kentucky. That's neat, right?
Right.
And so that's part of the. Our struggle is like, okay, we're local. But then again, you look at Winnie, and he's got 78,000 followers. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's a way to do
good old
it.
Gary O.
Shout out to Gary O.
Good old
man.
Gary O.
He's my idol at this point. Local idol.
Well, you guys should feel proud because if you have listeners that listen each week for your new show, they're listening because of you two, not because of the topic. Because the topic changes. For us, it could be the opposite. Because someone could be really interested in the horror genre, they could listen for the topic, not for Ryan and myself, which is the opposite of you guys.
Right.
I will say I have noticed where when our guests, because we let everybody know a week ahead of time, and then
Yeah, they'll like
late-
share it and
then we
post
do the
it,
mid
yeah.
to late week reminder, and if they engage with that, then they get a lot more viewers, and then so it is kind of dependent on who we interview as to how many views it gets. It's
Right.
and how they interact with.
I don't know.
social
We had
media.
a good response when it was just you and I.
We did.
But I insulted you a lot. So
That's probably why there was a good response.
Yes, the 45-minute episode that it took us 45 minutes to tell them it's canceled.
Yeah. Also, guys, I know we're 40 minutes in, but we're not having a show tonight, so
yeah, it's like
Thanks for listening.
thank you for tuning in.
That's pretty much how it went.
I would have listened to that. That would be awesome.
It's still on.
it's
there.
So you guys
Can't
do.
throw it
So I did see recently you did a haunted New England bars
What do you need,
episode, right?
Please.
oh yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So that one dropped. God, maybe 3-4 weeks ago.
something like that.
Yeah.
I didn't get to listen to it, so I'm curious what kind of bars you guys went over and that are local to this area.
Yeah, so we did 3 of them, but we're hoping to make that a part 1, part 2, part
Yeah,
3
yeah.
because being in New England, one of the oldest sections or the oldest section in the U.S. other than Florida. But we covered so the Tavern on Main in Chepachet, Rhode Island.
Oh yeah.
Super haunted location.
I've been there numerous times.
Oh, it's
Really?
insane. Yeah. So Tyler dove into the history, some stories I never even heard about before. Crazy deaths, some rumored death that happened in the basement, murders, and regarding those things. We also did the Stones Public House in Framingham, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Super cool location. And then the last one was Turner Seafood and Lyceum in Salem, Massachusetts. Huge place regarding history. Alexander Graham Bell made the first presentation of the telephone there.
No kidding.
Yep. And then the first witch who was convicted officially as a witch, Bridget Bishop, she originally owned the land where the Lyceum and Turner Seafood now sits.
Oh,
so
okay.
she owned that land and she made it an apple orchard. Then turns out she was the first witch to be hung by the neck until dead. So just another a layer there.
Wow.
But I've been there many times before, and I've seen firsthand videos from the staff showing like forks levitating, things getting pushed over in the back. Crazy location. Also, seafood there, amazing. Drinks there, amazing. So if you guys are in Salem or go this fall, definitely check that place out.
That's wild. And I will say we've had a practicing Wicca on actually before.
Nice.
Very interesting.
yeah.
One of the 3
Moon Magic,
amazing
yeah.
coffee shops in Danielson, Moon
Magic
Magic Cafe, and she leans right into it and just it is such a cool personality
Oh, nice, yep.
for the business and for her.
They have a place in Sturbridge too, right?
Yes,
They just opened their
Southbridge.
second.
Southbridge.
Yeah.
They just opened their second location, Southbridge.
Yeah, and it sounds like she's killing it up there.
Ah,
So-
I
well,
hope
she's
so. I
she's
hope so.
originally from Southbridge, so she has a lot of roots there, so that helps significantly.
Yeah.
Southbridge is kind of like Putnam now. It's more up and coming than it
Yeah.
used to be. Like
Yeah.
Putnam, the past 20, 25 years, It's been doing a lot better than it has
They
been.
still
you
have
know?
that Bugs Bunny grocery store. Or
Oh,
something.
and
What is it
the
called?
big bunny.
Big Bunny.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare talk negative about the big bunny, dude.
I would never.
I am 100% convinced that bunny on top of the building turns alive at night.
Okay,
That's
so
what
we
haunts
know his
Alfred.
opinion on ghosts.
It's terrifying.
No, I like I said, I mean, this whole platform is geared towards small businesses doing well, and no matter what your local is, just get to your locals and give them that support. I can't say that enough. I love going into the small town shops anywhere.
Yeah.
And even when we go on vacation, we look for the main street where, you can get a muffin here and a drink there, and then
Yeah, I mean, remember in Maine, you tried to take that guy's sweatshirt from that local business. that you
all
tried.
right. In my defense,
Gotta hear this
A
story.
little extreme, but we like where your head's at.
Columbus Day weekend, we like to go up to Maine and on and around the island that we frequent there.
What
is-
island are we talking about?
So it is Islesboro in South Bristol.
Get out.
Real,
No way.
real close
No.
to Vinyl Haven.
Our father
I've
was
never heard
born
of Vinyl Haven.
on Vinyl Haven. It's about 10 miles south of
So you
Islesboro.
guys know
Oh, Islesboro, so my wife
Damariscotta.
grew
You
up
guys
going to
know-
Islesboro.
Damariscotta,
Oh, nice.
Rockland,
Yeah.
Hamden.
Oh, yeah.
Those
Those
are
are all the places
Yeah,
we go. I
so
can't
we
believe-
met coaching soccer in 2019, and he's like, it was the fall, and he's like, hey, we're not going to be here this weekend. We're going to Maine for Columbus Day weekend. I was like, oh, no kidding. And so Damariscotta has a huge pumpkin fest. Well, my wife's godmother has a cabin on Lake Damariscotta. So we go up there for Pumpkin Fest and go up there all summer. It's like a 3-season cabin. And so then we would go up together, and they would be in Christmas Cove in Islesboro, and we would meet and and go to things down there.
So Columbus Day weekend this year, we should all go
yeah.
and do a podcast.
Say less.
from Maine.
Say less.
I'm sure we walked by you guys at some point like
absolutely.
7 years ago.
But literally right before we started, I was pulling in. Our mom sent us a picture. She's on Islesboro right now.
Wow.
Oh, no way.
She sent us
Wow.
a picture. Yeah.
My wife has been going to Islesboro since she was a kid.
Nice.
Her great aunt and uncle had a house there. They had a certain house that they rented every year. Her family would always be up there on her dad's side. And for his 60th birthday, she took us all up there with her dad. And, one of the best places to find sea glass is their coast. For whatever reason, and just super cool island. And it was cool to see because frequenting South Bristol since I was 9, we had seen a ton of the towns all around Camden, Thomaston, Pemaquid, Damariscotta, Portland, and pretty much Portland, Bath, and north of that, and all the way up to as far as Camden, as family, we had been to, and for her to show us that island, it was, her childhood and stuff is so cool.
Awesome. It is
That's
a
awesome.
beautiful place to visit. There's also
yeah.
some crazy ghost ship stories from that area.
Oh,
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Insane.
Because Islesboro was the buffer for storms.
I think,
Like
yeah.
a lot of ships took, what do you call that?
Like harbor.
yeah.
Yeah.
They would
would
come
go
into
and
port.
hide.
Yeah, they would come
they
into
would
port
hide
because
in
of
their
the storm.
port when
Yep.
there was a storm coming in and whatnot. And it was,
Well, Harpswell is that's right south of the Booth Bay region,
Yeah.
and they have a ghost ship in the Harpswell region called the Dead Ship of Harpswell, Maine. And we did an episode, I think, on haunted Maine in general and ghost ships.
Yep.
And we talked about the Maine coastline and all that, but it's supposed to be an omen of death. So if you see it, then someone is going to potentially pass away,
No
which
way.
is creepy.
man.
But us four, we should meet at the Owl's Head Lighthouse in Rockland.
Super
Yeah,
haunted location.
It's a
yep.
super haunted
No kidding.
lighthouse. Yeah, right on the coast. It's right next to Camden, just
Yeah.
north of the Booth Bay region.
It's great.
Yeah.
All Camden, Rockland, both those towns are awesome.
Yeah,
And
fantastic.
Camden has blew up.
Oh, it's-
So many boutique hotels, restaurants. I mean, just really turned it around.
Beautiful
And their
location.
main street is gorgeous.
I think they
Cool.
so we were up there, me and my girlfriend were up there recently, probably I think it was last November or so, but I didn't know they had Sea Dog Brewery
Yeah.
there as well. So
Yeah.
we're going up for my birthday, September 27th. But we're going up to Maine for our cousin's wedding. But I do say we should stop in Camden. Bro.
They have a Sea Dog Brewery in Topsham, which you go by
Yep.
on Route 1. That's right on the river. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's in an old mill right on the river, right where the waterfall is in Topsham. It's beautiful.
Yeah, Sea Dog's one of our favorite. That's up in, well, the first time we went to one was up in Bangor, Maine,
Yeah.
where they have their Sea Dog Brewery, and
Yeah.
we've loved it ever since.
Oh yeah, my wife loves. Well, they don't make the apricot beer now. It's Sunshine, I think, or Sunfish.
Sunfish.
Yeah, but
Oh.
they,
Yep.
We should, you know what? We would have brought you a sixer of that and not
Oh,
Narragansetts
no.
tonight.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to get our. Hold on. I'm
Listen,
gonna,
if
Tap
they-
the brakes.
disclosure, he hates fruit beers.
Well, this
So-
is a beer that it's kind of fruity, but at the same time, it's like it tastes like a
Smooth.
beer. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's not like you don't taste. It's not like Wachusett blueberry
No.
or something like
I was
that.
about to say,
Yeah.
I'm going to save our butts here real quick, Ty. There is nothing like a Narragansett.
yeah.
It is crisp, refreshing, made on honor, and sold on merit.
Right. They don't have a gun to your head. Right? You can like other things, okay, and promote the beer that is.
If anything, this is a lesson for us.
yes, we definitely need to improve on our sponsorship game. Anyone who's looking to sponsor a local podcast, reach out to the Community Workbench Podcast at gmail.com. We do have a policy, I guess, written now. I have to read it.
Yeah. Don't worry, the tech guy created it.
No, the AI,
No.
the
It was
plagiarism of the world,
It was
AI.
assisted by AI and edited by the tech guy.
If he edited it, you're fine.
Yeah,
You're good.
That's it.
Cheers,
Here's
boys.
to the future of podcasting.
Absolutely.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers. I will say I've always loved Narragansett.
Oh, it's the best.
It's always been so good.
It's funny because they like faded sort of out of the scene right when their brewery in Cranston went away, right? They
Yep.
kind of faded, and then they just came roaring back. I don't know where they went.
We still haven't been to the one in Providence yet, but the brewery in Providence, that place goes off. It's
Yeah.
insane. The amount of people they get, like per capita every weekend.
Where is it in Providence?
I think it's southern. I think it's southern Providence where it actually is. But
I mean, they were on the line on Cranston Street.
Yep.
So they can't be far from where they were.
And I think the main reason we love this beer is because of Jaws, right?
Yeah.
Captain Quint crushing a Narragansett on the Orca.
Well, have you guys ever been to that bridge right there in Cape Cod or on Martha's Vineyard?
Oh,
that
Martha,
bridge?
where
Yeah.
they
Is
filmed
that
it.
where?
Yep.
Is that where you do your polar plunge?
No. We go to
it's not that
Sandwich.
bridge. Oh, okay.
Martha's. What do you think? I'm a millionaire? what do you think? This podcast makes money?
Like I said, Patreon. We all got to get on that, man.
Absolutely.
We all got to get on that.
What is Patreon? I've never even been on it. I've never even like.
Oh,
looked
it's
at it.
it's pretty much a service where you, I don't want to say you ask for donations, but it's pretty much that.
Yeah, and people will pay a certain amount per month. Like it can be as small as $1 per month or $5.
Certain
and then,
tiers get you
yeah.
certain things.
and it'll be things like you release your episode a day early, you release it 2 days early, or you give them a sticker or a T-shirt once a month or something like that. Something minuscule. If you
something extra.
could, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
For a little bit of money.
Doesn't even have to be minuscule, but
Right. Yeah.
something extra.
Yep. Something a little extra.
So we have
for
to find
listeners.
something to offer them.
There you go.
Exactly.
I'm doing the best I can with what we offer now.
Yeah, we're so in debt. It's like
Yeah, but I mean, like the beauty is like you guys do it to hang out, right? Like you do
Right.
it because it's something you enjoy,
Absolutely.
and you've created some type of revenue with, and that's the goal, right? Everybody starts there. Joe Rogan didn't start making a boatload of, right?
He started in 2007 with
Yeah, he's a big Joe.
a webcam on his laptop in his living room, and he was just having comedians on it.
and it wasn't even a podcast then because that wasn't a thing, was it?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
It was just
Podcasts are relatively
It's
new.
like an
Yep.
internet
It was-
interview.
before YouTube. It was you. I don't know. He said it a couple times. I can't. I'm terrible.
There was
pronouns,
YouTube in
but it-
2007, right? I remember I watched some shady stuff in 2007 on
So-
YouTube
I
before
believe
like
So he references his inspiration that it was before YouTube. There was UTV or something like that. It was something different. And then whatever happened with YouTube or whatever, it had switched or it became a much different platform to what you see YouTube as now. So,
But yeah, I mean, you do it for fun, and if you can make some money on the side,
yeah.
great.
Yeah, it's just extra.
And you just enjoy it, right?
Yeah, we're big fitness dudes. Like we love to work
Oh,
out.
I
and all
saw
that
I
stuff.
noticed
You guys,
that, yes,
you guys got Jinx.
Well, yeah, we just got a relatively new sponsor, J&X Subs.
Yeah.
And we have
J&X, huh?
supplementation that they send to us, which is like that's the coolest thing I think that has
Yeah.
happened in a very long time for this podcast. Is we have a sponsor. We love beer, right?
Yeah.
Narragansett's great, but J&X Subs, they really help us with our personal goals.
Yeah.
They send us pre-workout, they send us protein and all that stuff.
Wow.
Which is awesome.
That is cool.
That was a big goal of mine, starting from day one.
That
Yeah.
would be crucial for us over 40s that cannot maintain muscle.
Well, we know a company.
And I believe you get 10% off if you use their link.
Yeah, the discount code. Absolutely.
Use our code Haunting Hour. That's all one word at checkout.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you can even say that. I just that's cool. I always kind of aspired to have like local sponsorships, like electricians and plumbers.
But we
the
will
area
take
and
anybody.
stuff. We'll take any, yes, we are whores, if you will. We'll take any.
We were for years. So,
Yeah, but the thing is, though, you can do research on the company, but they're local somewhere, right? Like
Yeah.
some people argue about some businesses that came into Brooklyn and stuff, but they're still owned by a local family
Right.
Right.
somewhere, right? And while they are a corporation, that money's still going back to, yes, I think a small corporation, but also that local family that is still spending that money locally, right?
Most franchises are owned by locals, and I will say, I used to do the awning for the Mystic McDonald's, and I don't know if it still is, but it was owned by a father and son along with 6 other McDonald's, and the son was salt of the earth type people. Like if he came, yes, he came in a Porsche, but he would be wiping tables down, mopping the floor,
But he was driving
asking-
home in a Porsche.
Yeah.
asking
Yeah.
people how their experience was, legitimately and genuinely concerned for their service and whatnot. And when we were putting up the awning, because we would take them down in the fall and put them up in the spring, and if he happened to be there when we were there, it was no different. He would ask us, like, did the staff, greet you? Did they teach you? That whole thing just had immense amounts of pride for every patriot.
Yeah.
Patriot. How do you?
Patron.
Patron. There you go. Thank you.
Could be a
I was
patron,
about-
too. Could be a very...
He makes up a lot of words.
to make
on
up
this
a word.
podcast. That's his MO.
I got you. You know what? I do that almost every episode with this guy. So
I know.
I've been versed.
Who makes up the words? You make up words?
No, he makes up, or he loses his like. What word is that I'm trying to think of?
Yeah, and then
yeah.
you correct me. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you edit.
Well, no, Matt
No,
he makes
I
up
make up
words.
a word.
We made up a couple words in our day, honestly.
sure.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, where you guys do a Haunting Hour podcast, right? And where down, I don't think you guys have done the one on Church Street, the church that we're, what, a quarter mile from?
Not
No,
even.
I could hit it.
not
I could
even.
throw a baseball and
Yeah.
hit it right
Did
now.
you did
Trinity
you go and look
Church.
at it
Oh,
before
yeah.
you came in?
I stopped.
You have very big arms. I'm sure you can throw them.
No, I actually can't throw anything. My throw is off.
More technique than anything. Muscles aren't everything, right?
Like my golf swing, not great.
But yeah.
Too much muscle. Yeah, that'll ruin your golf swing.
Yes,
Haven't you ever seen the meme of the guy that puts a sticker in the middle of his back?
Oh, and he can't
of the
get
mustache?
it. Yeah.
he can't get this.
Goals.
Yeah. That's why we stay skinny and slim.
Yes, Trinity Church, or Old Trinity Church, is right down the road from us. It's got a lot of history. Yeah.
It's a creepy place, huh?
I don't
Yeah,
know. The
I mean-
Boy Scouts and I and other leaders, we on Earth Day, that's where we go. We clean up that property. Clean up
Yeah, but it's light
the
out.
Yeah,
weeds and
Earth
stuff.
Day. It ain't Earth Night.
All right. So, I mean, I've done some night runs. I know I don't look like I'm doing running, but I've done some dusk runs, and I don't know, and even like, that if I'm pulling a trailer and I miss, or I have too much traffic behind me, sometimes I'll go up there and turn around. And I don't know. I've just never really been creeped out by it. Of course, I grew up in a 385-year-old
Right.
You're kind of an outlier. Your opinion, it matters, but not as much.
I think the that golden rule still applies. Do as to others as you'd want done to you, and the spirits won't bother you either.
Oh, for sure. I think that reigns true. Absolutely. But if you're an outsider, like somebody who's passing through Brooklyn, you've never been here before, if you roll up to that place, your eyes are gonna be like, oh my God, what is this?
Yeah, that place in like early November when there are no more leaves on the trees and
Oh, spooky.
yeah, it's just it really is. I've never really liked churches, honestly. Just in
Oh,
my
you don't
opinion.
say.
Oh, you grew up Catholic.
Well, well, hey, first of all, they should pay taxes. All right, let's start there.
Well, yeah, then some of us would pay less, maybe.
Exactly, which is ridiculous to me.
Do not get him started.
Yeah, true. I almost dropped the F-bomb on that one too. But no, honestly, it's creepy. It really is, and then the history behind it too. It's not something to take lightly, really.
No, but actually, I got a question for everybody here. So,
Sure.
Friday the 13th, it's coming up.
Yep.
September 13th.
Yep.
Does anybody have any weird superstitions? Do you guys do anything?
I will say I looked it up, and the Friday the 13th actually comes, or it's heavily agreed upon that it comes from Christianity, where it's rumored that Jesus was hung on a Friday the 13th
Oh, yep.
on the cross.
Yep.
And that, along with, I watched a thing where the guy, he was a psychologist, and he was talking about where, if you have a heavy belief in any religion, and that religion says it's bad or whatever, or you just have a weird negative thing that happens on any day, your mind will automatically, because we're geared that way to it's bad luck on Friday the 13th. Well, just you doing that in your mind will manifest a bad day.
It's
Yeah,
like
you know what I mean, or
Matrix thing. I think
Yeah.
that's the
Or Tulpa.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
made a movie that was horrifying.
And even that, the origins of that are widely debated, because Friday the 13th mimics the 1960s unsolved mystery of kids camping out on a lake, and there was like 3 brutal knife murders or stabbings.
I applaud you for coming to this podcast with a lot of that knowledge.
I feel like I can step out right now. You're in, man.
Ty, you are out of a job.
Yeah, I didn't know how far into the theme we were gonna lean.
That's pretty funny.
But literally, I don't do any, Friday the 13th comes around, I don't do anything different.
Right.
If something bad happens to
Yeah.
me, I will blame it on the day.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that is Friday the 13th right there, man.
It's like a scapegoat, though. That's
Oh,
like
no, exactly.
Oh yeah, my tire blew. Sorry, I can't get in at 9 o'clock. It's Friday the 13th. What are you gonna do?
Sorry, I can't work today at all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way,
So whenever anything superstitious or could be superstitious happens to me, I always like to, because I'm a carpenter, I'm like, knock on wood, and I do the head thing.
Yep.
And I don't know.
has anything?
Nothing negative has ever really
Okay.
happened to me on Friday the 13th, or that I've actually said, oh, it was Friday the 13th. Of course, if you ask me like any date, I'm usually not, I don't like things don't associate with dates for me.
Yeah, it makes
you know what I
sense.
mean? That kind
Based
of
on
thing.
your brain, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be curious
very
to know, though.
storyline.
I'd be curious to know how people prior to Friday the 13th, the movie coming out, were influenced by Friday the 13th, right? Because the minute you see something out in media or anything, right, now everybody's aware of it, right?
Yeah.
But prior to that, I mean, everybody knew the 13 was like unlucky, right? I don't even think planes have a 13th row
I don't think they do.
or 13th.
A lot of casinos don't have a 13th floor.
Yeah.
Hotels don't.
Hotels in
Right.
general across the board
Also,
don't.
If
So-
you've never seen or heard of it before, there's another psychological thing that happens when it's the first, like, they did this study where they would tell people a lie, and because it was the first time they had heard anything on that subject matter, that they would believe that even when they were told and shown hard evidence, the truth later. They didn't believe it because it was the first time they had heard it on that subject matter. And the same thing,
Makes
like
sense.
if you see Friday the 13th and you even like especially now, if you Google it, it looks like it's heavily rumored that it came from the 1960s beachfront massacre on the name of the lake escapes me in England.
Haven't even looked that up. That sounds fascinating, though.
Yeah. So, if that's the first time you've heard of that, whatever, 12, 13 years old watching the movies or anywhere in that vicinity, you just like, oh, it's bad luck for Friday the 13th or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like a thing.
Well, it speaks volumes that black cats aren't adopted as frequently as other colored cats. And that's just
Okay.
across the
There you
board.
go.
That has been that way for like 50 years.
And I will say, knock on wood, I've had multiple cats cross my path. And I've
Black cats?
black cats.
Yeah, nothing's happened.
Nothing.
No, it's just it's a bunch of hocus pocus.
I consider myself very lucky. Other than having a friend like Kyle, I've been very lucky in life.
Disclaimer. Well, at least you guys are friends. We're brothers. We're stuck with each other till death, pretty much.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have an out.
Awesome.
You have an out. We do not.
Yeah. So, other than Kyle, I'm a pretty lucky guy.
Yeah.
So we were just doing the hand signals for Tyler. May have to go.
No, 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no biggie. We're pretty raw form where
No, that's exactly what our show
you
is.
gotta go.
Yeah,
you
that's-
gotta
We're
go.
very raw.
We were talking to my brokers, the Mehans, Remax Bell Park, all three of them, and they just started dropping like flies as the night went on because they had appointments.
See you later. We won't cut to you. So that's cool.
I mean,
What about we have? I guess a couple questions for you guys. What are you guys afraid of? What scares you two? Any phobias you have? Maybe stemming from
Being a real adult.
Well, I was gonna say from childhood. Anything ever happened like you're afraid of snakes or heights or anything like that? Or did you grow up in a home that was maybe allegedly haunted?
you want to go first?
Anything like that?
or-
No, I mean, I never. Yeah, nothing. So my aunt lived in Cumberland, Rhode Island. So the monastery in Cumberland, Rhode Island, there's a 9 men's misery. I don't know if you ever heard of that. So it's like part of the Revolutionary War. There were 9 men like tortured there. You can look it up. I think it's the Revolutionary War. I don't think it's ghosts. But no, my aunt lived in a super old house right on the main street that was allegedly haunted, and we had gone there numerous times and just. We had heard it was haunted, and as a kid, that's all you need. And like these old houses that have all these
I'm done.
rooms all over with multiple stairways, you're like, yeah, I'm not going over there. I'll stay in the kitchen. But that's pretty much as close as I got to any type of like haunted situation.
Well, what about like? Are you guys afraid of anything? You must be.
Spiders?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
Snakes?
No.
Really?
No.
Everyone's afraid of something.
So
Let
here-
me ask you this one: home invasions. We
Yeah,
did a
hey,
whole
we're in
episode. We did a
Connecticut.
whole
Think-
episode on it though, but
2 dogs and quite a bit of other equipment to secure the house.
Oh, I'm sure
here
you're
at
all
the
right.
Norton residence.
yeah,
No,
but
worried
Connecticut.
about
I don't
home
know.
invasion.
We're not in Texas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The court system scares me.
Exactly.
No,
The judicial system. That's what I'm afraid of.
No, I'm scared of paying more taxes.
no, I will say, growing up, I had both parents for the first 14 years of my life. I was very blessed in that regard, and I played a lot of basketball outside with my dad, and he kind of instilled, whether it was good or bad, like if any other human can do it, you can do it, kind of thing. Where I used
He
to
lied.
like as an adult now, I know Shaquille O'Neal's 7'3". Like I understand there are going to be limitations to my 5'9" frame. I get that, but like growing up as a kid, it was kind of like it was kind of almost off-putting to me to learn about somebody else's phobia. Like, okay, if you're afraid of dogs, why don't you get a dog? Like that was like my mentality.
Right.
If you're afraid of heights, why not? Like exposure therapy is what they call it now.
Yep.
I was like, that's what I would do if I was legitimately afraid of it. I've skydived. I've had multiple dogs. I've caught snakes. Spiders. I just pressure washed the house. I want to say the smallest brown lacrosse I came in.
Yeah, I'm
contact
gonna
with.
stop you right now. We're in a
This
basement.
big.
I'm stopping you right now.
Big arachnophobic right here.
That's
Really?
dude
Okay,
with me,
so
man. I'd be out I'd be out
So
if
being
I saw
in,
one right now.
so being in the housing industry for 20 something.
Yeah, you
years,
have to.
if spiders frequent your basement, it's usually a sign that your basement is of the right moisture content.
I have
So
a
if you
lot. I have a lot of daddy long legs in my basement.
So if it's like a canary in a mine, like they have.
I understand
there's
it.
Something about it.
Still
like,
hate it.
if there's a lot of spiders in your basement, it's usually of the right moisture content that you.
I know.
It's
Very
healthy-
interesting.
it's
All right.
healthier.
Yeah,
Okay.
than-
I know what you fear.
What?
Being alone, not being able to talk to anybody.
It's a real fear.
when you had
Okay.
when you had COVID,
So-
and you were
That hurts.
isolated.
That hurts.
I called a lot of my clients and you and some other guys.
So what's going on? What's your day like?
I don't know if it's a fear so much as I get bored easy. And human contact or people watching and human contact is my favorite form of entertainment for sure. And God forbid anything happened to my wife or family. Like I could not be alone. Please don't judge me if I bounce back into the dating world really quickly.
I say, well, you got us. We'll come and just job
Yeah.
with you.
I feel like we should
Down
make
here.
this 5:30 every Sunday. Does that work for you guys?
Like I said, one thing I've always wanted to do on Sundays, a lot of guys watch football and hang out or whatever.
Yep.
I always love comedy, like for a bunch of us to get together and watch old comedy skits, new specials that pop out.
Yep.
Like to
We're
get
big.
together on one
Whose
day.
line is it anyway?
yeah.
Do I say the right word right there? Yeah.
one
With
of
Drew
the
Carey, the
favorite-
OG.
Yes.
Who was it? Wayne.
Wayne Brady.
Wayne
Brady.
Ballin.
Yeah.
One of the best improv
Improv, yeah.
improv guys ever. And then I don't know his name, but the tall blonde guy is just
Ryan Stiles.
Ryan Stiles.
Ryan
Yeah.
and Colin Mockery.
so
And Greg Proops.
hysterical.
Yeah, those guys are awesome.
Yeah, the improv is just an unbelievable talent.
I will say, Ty, bringing that up, 100,000 points to you, as Drew Carey says on that show.
Thank you, sir.
Points are not real, but we'll give them out anyway.
But they don't matter at all.
That's kind of how the culture's going.
Yeah.
Very similar.
You want the American dollar? It means nothing.
Hey, we weren't going to get into politics.
I
but-
didn't.
Unless you're a church, then it means a lot. That's the last thing I'll say about it.
Oh, man.
No, I love the comedy. A lot of the podcasts I listen to are comedians, and then I go to YouTube for a lot of their specials if I'm on the phone, and then if I'm on the TV, Hulu and Netflix seem to have a lot of specials.
Yep.
And I love it. Even if I'm watching the same one again, I mean,
Oh, for
just,
sure.
like all the big names and all the small names. Kill Tony, I will mention. That is
nice.
just,
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
just a great podcast to see people bomb, people excel, and then the way they treat them afterwards when they excel.
Yep.
The golden ticket, the whole bit, like just what it's done for comedians as a culture. That I'll confidently say that's one of the best shows ever for comedy. You know, and I love the idea of people laughing, people making people laugh, that whole thing. That's why I wanted this platform to be lighthearted and just
Yeah.
say whatever you want.
And I will say, as getting older, laughing, it doesn't happen as frequently as I would like it to.
I'm not. It's a little depressing, but I agree.
No, right?
Yeah.
But
You don't find yourself laughing on a Tuesday afternoon at 2:00. You know what I mean?
Absolutely not. But that being said, also big fans of Workaholics. Those guys made us laugh all through college and still today. So
Well, Comedy Central, man, that's like a lost art right now.
it really is.
That
Miss-
peaked in early
it.
2000 or 2012 or so.
Yep.
But then it started to peter off a bit. But man, that definitely got us through some tough times.
for sure.
And then Impractical Jokers.
Oh,
fantastic.
so glad it took off. Like
Yeah.
that, good on Sal, Murray, and
Or Murray, yeah. Those guys, literally the best job on the planet.
oh yeah, 100%.
Your high school friends, you go make fun of each other. Dude, that is
Or
the-
tell them to do things that just
Dude.
they cannot do in public, and if they do it, they it's last for the next round or make money, whatever it is. But yeah, I agree. Comedy, it's kind of like horror. It's a lost art, man.
I agree.
Like, everyone's for drama, everyone's for action, adventure, Marvel, DC, especially in like the Hollywood universe. But I feel like it's horror and comedy. Just they brush it under the rug.
I do think comedy's coming back on a different level. Not so much movies, but
For sure.
right
For
at
With
like
comedians.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like
Oh, yeah.
touring, right? Like I don't know if
So-
you guys know Nate Bargatze, but
we love
he's actually a clean comedian, and it's hysterical. And he just literally talks about life experiences.
Oh, it's great.
And, oh my gosh, it's so funny.
Relatable,
like,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
One of his specials is The Memphis Kid, and then the other one is The Best Average American or something like that. And just like his southern demeanor and hospitality. Like one of his jokes goes on about how the word sucks was a swear growing up in his house.
Yeah,
And it's
honestly,
like-
for us
it's
too.
just-
Yeah.
That same here.
Would your mom wash your mouth out with soap?
Yeah, absolutely, a
happened-
bar.
Yeah,
Once.
a bar of soap.
Yeah,
Yeah, it happened,
happened
to me
once.
too. Yeah.
Happened
Lost
once.
art. Lost art.
We use liquid soap now.
I will
Dawn
say,
detergent.
I got liquid soap. It must have been.
No, no.
Yeah,
Liquid.
Yeah.
No, they had liquid soap.
Oh God! You know what?
I set you up for that one.
Look, oh, there we go. Backwards hat. Let's do it. Let's do it.
I love it.
You teed it up, man.
Man, liquid soap.
God, gotta get a photo of that.
Horrible.
Nah, it looks good. The backwards hat looks
But
good.
Too much
that's,
forward.
That's
I mean, too
yeah,
much
like,
forehead.
that definitely is a lost art. Like that doesn't happen now.
No, and it probably shouldn't.
Yeah, honestly, agreed with that. Yeah,
just because I've experienced it.
yeah.
I don't
no,
even
man.
know what it was, but
Absolutely.
Going through, I'm not gonna say it's trauma, but going through that, and now that I know what a bar of Dial tastes like, I don't buy it.
Well, it's like you have conversations with your friends. You're like, so what kind of soap do you have? Does it taste like any better? Do you think? like we use Irish Spring.
Yeah, I
and
do
it's-
not-
my breath smells great.
I do not envy the kid that's the connoisseur of soaps because his mouth was so horrible as a kid. But I will say, I did not know the C word till I was an adult, and thank God.
No, it'd be way worse than a bar of soap in
Oh,
your mouth.
God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, same with us.
Yeah, you'd be getting the ruler at Catholic school or something like
Yep.
that. Yeah.
I have actually gotten that before.
Wow. So you are old enough.
Not that old, but still, dude. Sister Constantine.
Yeah,
You know, St.
yeah,
Anne's?
St.
Oh,
Anne's.
So you guys were like,
Hardcore.
straight Catholic
Hardcore,
school.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be very vague, but my father-in-law went to a Catholic school, so obviously he's my father-in-law, so he's much older. And one of their practices when he misbehaved was to put him in the dark basement of the Catholic school with no lights on in a chair. Sit there 8 hours.
Kind of like we are now.
8 hours. Yeah,
All day.
are now.
All day.
That's-
And he had that. I don't know if he had it numerous times, but he definitely had it.
That's solitary confinement.
That's
Yeah.
torture.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Is he-
But in this lifetime, he had a ruler.
yeah.
Oh,
true.
So
That's
think
true.
about that.
Well, now the lifetime now they don't have anything.
No.
And I-
Yeah, it's
well,
just.
I will say
Yeah,
that was
no,
the,
man, it's a
that
mountain. We're
was
going
the
down.
tail end at St. Anne's because it was the two older women who were
Yeah.
checking out. I will say who
Yeah.
were yeah.
Probably aren't with us anymore.
Well, I don't know. I don't even know. A lot of Catholic schools don't even use nuns anymore. They're just regular teachers.
Yeah,
and they
Catholic
have, like,
schools.
Yeah, and they have a priest that teaches, Catholicism or
Even
whatever.
they could even be just a deacon that runs the school, now,
Right.
Too.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I will say, my mom used a very small amount of soap. It was just enough to
That's-
be like,
All you need is a
and there
little
was
bit.
no way I was
Yeah, but
swallowing.
you think about how
nasty
much
taste.
Now,
You
think
know
about how
what I
much detergent you need to wash your dishes. Not much.
A spoonful of Dawn
Yeah.
goes the
So
whole
yeah,
thing
that
full.
little dollop of soap, you're probably foaming at the mouth for days.
Spoonful. Jesus.
I'm sure we all knew it, but when you said the wrong thing and you saw the look in your mom's
Oh,
eyes,
yeah.
it was over.
Yeah, that's all
Yeah.
it really.
I
took.
messed up. Here
yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it, and I.
Look at us now. Look, I mean, come
Yeah.
on, come on.
I
Successful
honestly,
I mean, you have a
podcasters.
master's degree.
Look at that.
spankings and even
Yeah.
being bullied. I mean, honestly, I think it's worth it a little bit. I know that's controversial, but
Yeah,
I think and it,
we're the same
honestly,
person.
if I met my bully now, like
Shake his hand.
I would just want to have a beer with him.
Yeah.
You know what I
Oh,
mean?
maybe not
It
shake
wouldn't
his
be a
hand.
big deal.
I'm looking at a carbon copy. It is so scary.
Yeah. Yeah, bullying should happen again, just not to an extent that's insane.
Yeah, I think
Like-
there's extremes. I mean, there was that girl in
sure.
Massachusetts that bullied her boyfriend into committing suicide.
Yeah.
and I think, but at the same time, when we grew up, and I'm saying that collectively, like we're all the same age.
Well, we're close enough where we can.
Yeah, but
We've had soap in our mouths together.
yeah, that's right. It never got to that point.
No,
right?
no.
It was like
Never.
bullying,
So
bullying in school, and then that was it. You see him the next day.
And that's the key point there is that like bullying was physical. It was right in front of you. It was at school or on the way home from school, whatever, on the bus. It was not social media. That is
Oh,
the
yeah.
problem
It's in your
with
pocket.
this conversation.
Yeah.
It's in, you don't
Yeah.
leave school.
And it's not.
in
You
your
know
pocket.
what?
It's not
You don't-
even.
you
It's not
never-
just in your pocket. It's everywhere,
That's
and
true.
everybody knows it. Everybody sees it.
But
and
we've never
that's-
experienced the cyberbullying
Right.
that bad.
Same
we
here.
can't even speak
Yeah.
to that.
Right.
Ty, let me
So-
stop you right there.
I will give
Who
the disclaimer.
cyberbullied you?
Our podcast gets
No,
dude. I'm not joking. I'm
Is
not
that what success means?
No,
Dude, that's awesome.
yeah, it's
I dream of the day I get comments. Period. That's the statement.
the saying is, it's like you have enemies good. That means you stood up for something,
absolutely, but still, we do get people do call us out,
dude. They have nothing
frequent.
else to do, man.
Yeah.
I get
you know
keyboard
that.
warriors.
Yeah.
I understand. I totally understand. But
I
it's
will,
always
It
there.
does happen.
I will say, take the advice of the great Joe Rogan. Post,
A great
post,
Rogan,
and ghost.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
ironically,
dude. For a podcast, any
Post
marketing
and
doesn't
walk
matter what
away.
it is. It's
Yeah.
good marketing. If people
Right.
are commenting, good.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what they say.
For sure.
I mean,
That's-
I kind of there is a cancel culture that we do have to work.
True,
walk out,
but we're
watch
not
out
even
for.
close to.
I know.
we could get there.
What are you worried? What are you worried about?
Yeah,
cancel
there's-
culture?
it can happen.
I know YouTube is out for everyone. Same with
Right,
Instagram, dude.
but-
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Instagram killed us.
the idea of reading comments, I try to like them all, and because I'm just happy people talk about our, and
But
it's
you gotta
great
take a
right
you
now.
gotta take a book
But-
from like some of these celebrities, right? They just hop on and read the mean comments people post and talk about them,
Oh, it's the
and
best.
then laugh.
It's the
and I'm
best.
like, that squashes everything, right? It's so much better, and you can't fixate. But everybody has a different disposition, right?
Right.
So like, some people, one comment that's like really offensive to them is going to cut through them, and other people are like, all right, well. You're not a follower, obviously, or maybe you are, and making us a little bit of money.
Yeah, that's the mindset you have to have, though.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Whatever, if someone's commenting on your Instagram page or Facebook page, it's going to get you more
Absolutely.
in the long run. So it doesn't matter what they're saying. No one's even going to look at someone saying like, "Oh, this is a bad podcast." They'll see someone commenting on it and be like, "Oh, this is a bad podcast, controversial. Let me listen."
Yeah.
Boom, another follower.
Yeah.
Not wrong.
People love train wrecks.
What-
That's it.
One thing I will say, and I'm so glad we don't dabble really in the realm of train wreck viewers. Like, I love that we are.
You can't be selling a house.
Yeah. Once in a while, that does happen.
7 on a Sunday.
Your wife would be so proud.
But I will say I'm super glad that we are in the positive realm of podcasting and we don't do the controversial stuff because in this day and age you can outrun your fame, can outrun your ability to secure
Yeah. Hey,
yourself, your family, and that type of stuff. So I just love that we are on our podcast that we don't really get into pissing people off. I love just bolstering people and being that positive platform that,
Oh, for
that you
sure.
can go to and not be I mean, there's plenty of platforms and whatever media out there where you can see controversy. And
So what do people bully you guys for? That they don't agree, like they view something, your take, differently than they view it?
No, I think it's just the way we talk about
Present it.
Like, I think they think we're like college boys who are like stupid, and I'm not gonna say the word, but like college F boys who are like, you guys are so uninformed and you guys make jokes about everything. But that's not how it is. We do research and we talk about things in a respectable manner, I think. And I think
Maybe you got to put your master's degree at the end of the
There you go.
credentials so people know.
MED.
I think it's people just trying to get under our skin because
Yeah.
they know
Oh,
we have
absolutely.
a bit
Just
of a, we have a
keyboard-
bit of a
yeah.
following. So
I-
it's like
Keyboard warriors. That's all it is.
or stop talking about the Catholic Church.
Hey,
Well,
once
listen,
they pay taxes, they don't stop talking about it.
Well, that
I'm not sure you have a lot of Catholic followers out there, so
Sure not.
they may not be the ones.
Listen, I will say I would never knock anyone for what they believe, but
Right.
it's just my belief.
Yeah,
You know, that's opposite or not opposite, but just
but that's a problem with America, is that people believe that other people should believe what they believe. right?
100%.
And so
Yeah.
For sure.
the whole point is, yeah, you can believe that, and I can believe something completely different.
Yeah,
and we
and we
can
can-
sit across the table.
we can
from
be
each
friends.
other. That's
So-
right.
and one thing to your not to your point, but just like when you do a 50c3 for nonprofit, there's a criteria that you have to meet, and it has nothing to do with the belief or the religion or anything. It's just how you pay your taxes
Yep.
or don't pay your taxes. How you spend your money is actually the biggest thing. Is you have like 5 years to spend your money either on the corporation or put it in your salaries. And that's, if you do that correctly, like there are schools, there's religions, there's charities, and I will say for our local charities, it's a godsend that that they meet that criteria and don't have to pay taxes on it because of
that keeps them above
the
water.
donation
Yeah.
that they
Oh, no,
get.
absolutely.
Well,
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
the
yeah.
income
one
that
of you
they
guys
get.
one of you lives in Danielson or close to it, ain't
Killingly,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So we had Friends of Assisi on.
Yeah.
So they're part of not really part of, but I guess part of St. James School, which is
Well, that's where it originated from.
But they do incredible work for the community and the food that they can provide for the community, right? And so there are a lot, with every good, there's bad. So
It's with anything, though.
There's,
You know?
there's a ton of people out there that abuse that part of the system, but in the end, it is a godsend for.
And I will say
For a lot of people.
And I'm not saying that the
Yeah.
Catholic or any other religion is abusing it. I'm just saying that it's the nonprofit organization to be able to have that and have the tax breaks that it gets is
probably benefits way more
definitely
than abuse.
more beneficial than this is more good than evil.
And I will say, around this area, Danielson and Putnam, there is a lot of work with food pantries
Yeah.
that do amazing work.
shares,
It's
food
crazy.
Oh, it keeps
It's
pantry.
amazing.
people alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd agree
it's-
with that.
It's
Yeah.
really, really great. I can't say enough about the food pantries, the shelters, and all the work that the volunteers do and go through to keep those places alive and keep the donations going through. Anyone that wants to be on this platform, if we can boast them to get even one more donation.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
come to the-
3 of
It's
our
worth it.
followers could.
Please come to the bench.
Yeah. It's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Dude, I am so happy we did this.
That's
and
great.
Like I said, this should be an every single Sunday at 5:30 thing that we do.
You guys are awesome. Super happy. This is our first pre-recorded full episode. We do our commercial that's pre-recorded. I don't
So it
know.
was an experience.
Yeah. It was,
Far easier, actually, for me, because I didn't have to manage anything but this microphone.
yeah, we didn't do any slides.
Excellent.
Some obnoxious realtor didn't get on right away and do a
I don't even know if he's gotten a referral from any of us.
Sunday night. Well, listen, guys, we really appreciate this. This was
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh, this was a
Yeah.
great.
we
Fantastic.
If you'd have us on again, we'd
Oh,
love to
yeah.
come back.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I'd love to be on your platform. as
Yeah.
well,
Oh,
you know.
absolutely.
Sure.
We could. I don't know if you guys have anything, set up for Halloween or anything, but maybe we can figure out something in October.
Do
Might
it.
be fun. Maybe we'll bring a topic and we can hear your opinions on it.
What
That
an
might be
honor.
fun, right?
What an
That
honor
might be,
to be
great.
on the horror podcast.
That's not what it's called.
I know.
It is a
The
horror
haunted
podcast.
hour about horror to be there on their main day of the
Big
year.
It wouldn't be a podcast if you didn't screw something up.
I didn't screw anything up. I'm just saying their genre is horror, and
Yeah.
to be on their platform.
You did it. You did
For
it.
Halloween would be just an
Awesome.
amazing
Yeah.
honor.
In our defense, we might have snagged that title from Mr. R.L. Stein, who wrote the Goosebumps books.
Woo! I
So-
read a few of their books.
So he came out with a different a different story and a different TV show, maybe like 5 years after Goosebumps ended, called R.L. Stein's The Haunting Hour. And me and Tyler loved that TV show so much, but we took a little bit from it, I guess. And
yeah.
As long as he's
Yeah,
not
it's
listening, we're good.
copyrighted.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
well, he's
No, it's
got
not.
enough money.
Yeah.
Goosebumps was like the first book I ever physically read
Those
all the way
were
to the
the
end.
Same here. Those were my first ones that I could stay.
You know what?
focused
Maybe
for
we'll
the
do
whole
is
book.
we'll bring like maybe we'll do like a 90s horror kind of topic.
How old were you guys in the 90s?
we were 93.
You were born in
I was
'93.
born in 93.
So I got 10 years on you.
That's not bad.
Kyle's got 9.
Yeah. Not bad. We can do like a 90s, early 2000s horror, and
Yeah.
we can hear about you.
I feel
Childhood, 91.
spry.
I was 91.
You guys look like you're the same age. So I know
Phil,
you're not
I thought
twins.
What an
he was
insult.
older.
I'm sorry. 93. Would you say you're?
91.
I thought he was older.
Yeah, I hear it a lot.
It's the badass look he's got
Yeah.
going on,
Yeah.
and I know I'm the only one who swore on this.
He must take more J and X than.
Good plug.
Dude, I will honestly say when I first saw you today, I thought, does he dye his beard? Because that is a
Nope, that is
dark color. And that is-
Bob Brown, my dad. Thank you, Father. That is all my dad's beard right
It's
there.
a-
I
it's
take after
amazing.
my mom.
you got a little blonde in yours.
do,
His
yeah.
is just
A little
like
bit red,
matches
too.
his shirt. That's incredible.
I'll be losing my hair real quick because my dad is.
Oh, we're both bald.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Well, I was 28 when I started losing, 29 when I started. Am I at 27?
Just keeps getting,
I always joke.
26 at the earliest.
When I joke, and I don't know what age I was when I got married.
Well,
15 years ago, this September, 15
So
years
25?
ago exactly. So
26.
you are so good with the math. And I often joke when people say, "Oh, you got hair in that picture," and I'm like, yeah, that was the last of the Matt Noren with picture of hair.
Thank you. Thank you.
We played golf one day, and we both had hats on, and we played with another twosome, and one of them was in the market for a house, or you were just being forward, and he gave him a business card.
With hair?
No, it didn't have hair. And
Stop
he goes,
it! You're
"Oh."
telling this all wrong.
No, and he said, "Oh, you're bald."
That part you're correct with. But the reason why my business card came out was because they were like, anytime you see us on Tea Times, please do your twosome with us.
Oh, yeah.
Because they live at the golf.
Oh, that's
Well, hey, listen, two of you, two of us, we all golf. I'm
Oh,
just
you guys
saying,
go-
maybe we do a
yeah,
Sunday
yeah,
9 holes at
yeah.
Vineyard Valley and then come back here,
yeah.
do a little podcast.
But that was it. I
Sold.
was like, oh, hey, if you want us to look you up, I was like,
Yeah.
give 'em my business here. If you
That was
guys,
funny.
You know.
Oh, you're bald.
Yeah,
Does that matter?
Yeah, what the hell?
well, they haven't called us since, so
I guess it does.
right down the tubes.
Hair plugs. Well, gentlemen, I'm going to raise my my Narragansett to you. Thank you very much for having us on. This has
guys.
been
Thank
awesome.
you
Thank
so
you.
much for coming.
Yeah.
This has been great.
Cheers.
I love the way the studio looks today. This is awesome.
Fantastic. Also, I'm going to give a plug for ourselves if you guys don't
Yeah, of course.
Dude, do it. That's what this platform is for.
love it. So me and Ty are going to be part of the Salem Paracon up in Salem, Massachusetts. It's October 19th. That's a Saturday.
Okay.
I believe it's 2 weekends before Halloween this year because Halloween falls on a Thursday.
Oh boy.
But so we're going to be there. It's at Salem State University. We're going
Oh.
to have a little booth set up, and if you guys are interested, come on up to Salem. Great place to hang
October
out during
19th.
Halloween.
Sweet.
Come meet me and Ty. just have a good time, you know.
Paracon. So what is that? Like a Comic-Con, but for paranormal?
Yep. So they're gonna have it's the 50-year anniversary of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So they got a bunch of the original actors there doing panels and stuff.
That wasn't
so.
true, was it?
Yeah.
It was based on a true story.
Based on a
story. Yep.
Story. Yep.
So we'll be there. If you guys want to come hang out, it should be a good time.
And just so you know, the main guy of the Chainsaw Massacre was never found.
True.
He was never found, never imprisoned for the havoc he wreaked.
Theoretically, if he was young enough, he could still be wrecked. Theoretically, if he was, if he was young enough, then he could still be around. So
I know what I'm watching tonight when
Lock-
I get home.
lock the doors,
JNX Sports.
all supplementation, any drink Narragansett.
Yeah. Well, did those cancel each other out? I don't know.
Well,
So,
Oh, never mind.
so hopefully I can go to this, but I know Kyle is not really allowed near schools right now.
Oh no, this is gonna be on the internet, and that's not
Forever.
I pick my kids up every day.
you gotta edit that one.
We don't edit.
Yeah, we don't care.
We're really good at editing the front and the back.
Not the middle.
Yeah, that's, you just lop it off, and that's it.
Respect that.
I'm still trying to decide in my head if I lop off the first 8 minutes. Kyle was recording and none of us knew.
I don't think anybody said anything
I
controversial.
saw that it was on, and I was like, "Are we actually on air right now?"
John.
Oh,
John.
it's a private feed, but
It is if I
we
don't
don't
edit it.
we
If I
don't
do edit it.
normally
No, I know.
record on
Live,
YouTube, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so we're like, we did it
Yeah.
for one thing because we were like, we wanted to make sure this went normal and good
Yeah.
because we've had quite the experience with new things.
I'm very thankful for YouTube Live for how we
They're not
were
paying
able
us.
to
Yeah, at least
Not
market, any marketing
not
is good.
yet,
Yeah.
but for how we were able to play on Facebook and record because the 3.5 hour
yeah.
memorial special was
It got cut.
it was not allowed.
Yeah, Facebook was like,
you weren't
"Yeah,
allowed to download it.
You don't even pay us,
Makes
so
sense.
we're not going to give you this. It's too
It's a
long.
business, man.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
so we played it and recorded it.
yeah.
Nice.
Over the
Yeah.
actually, I fell asleep and it went on for 12 hours, blank screen, and then I cut it. So it's
Listen.
fine. And those episodes, if they're not already, because this is Friday the 13th, we're pre-recording on Sunday before Friday the 13th. Hopefully this week I get to it and I put them all out
Nice. Yeah.
Well,
and
either way.
Absolutely.
make a post
So,
about it.
all right. So October 19th, you guys will be at Paracon, Salem State University.
Yes.
We will. I
The
also,
Haunting Hour podcast.
absolutely. I will also give everybody a pre-recorded shout out. Happy Halloween to everybody. I know it's early,
Yeah.
but
It's September
It's
13th.
never too early.
Friday
Halloween
13th.
season right now.
Yeah.
We're-
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
gets earlier and earlier every year.
Oh, well, shout out to Chubby Dog. They've already decorated, and I'm already a sponsor of one of the scarecrows for Fear Grounds.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Brooklyn does like a at the
The
fairground.
scare walk.
Yeah, they
Dude.
do
Yeah.
Fear Grounds.
Could you imagine a show right before Halloween with these two and Adam?
Oh, God.
Adam
I'm sold.
Mondo.
I gotta hit that.
Yeah. We get that.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please remember to buy local, hire local, volunteer local, listen local to all the podcasts, all the local bands out there, and have a very, very safe and happy Friday the 13th. We'll see you soon. Mondays at 6.
Listen to that outro. That was solid.